There's so much talk about chronic diseases. When you just Google search it, you'll find a lot of PR articles throwing a lot of numbers and scaring people.
Yeah.
Right? And the solution to it is go to the doctors, do a bunch of things, is basically money, 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 right? Not surprisingly, once you cross the age of 40, one of the biggest expense items is item on health, right? You're spending money to just get better, not to thrive, but actually to
like get through the day, basically,
correct. Right? So maybe you would love to hear what are some of these chronic diseases, how are you able to reverse them, or what is the approach, right?
Sure.
Just would love to hear a little bit about this.
So it's been an interesting journey in these diseases also, right? For example, earlier on, like 2017, most of the people who approached me, it would either be for weight loss or for diabetes. Like they'd been diagnosed with diabetes, they'd been told that they'd have to be on medication for life, and they wanted to. There was a degree of awareness that okay, diabetes can be helped with lifestyle modifications, right? So people came for that. So even now, we see a lot of people who come to us with diabetes. But it suddenly feels like there's an explosion of diseases. So the team and I think for the website, we were looking at some numbers of all the diseases we've treated so far. 158 disease labels. Like, I'm like, when did these labels come, right? Like, who was issuing all these different, like Sjogren's syndrome and transverse myelitis, and some of them come to us with a cluster of symptoms without any label also. But I would categorize like, so there's diabetes. There are people with blood pressure issues, like typically high BP is something that they've been diagnosed with, and then they are suffering the consequences of that, right? So the inability to kind of rest well, the anxiety through the day, the dizziness, the headaches, all of that that's happening because of high BP. And then there are heart health problems. The other cluster that we see is a lot of autoimmune conditions. So autoimmune itself is a big category, right? It could be an autoimmune thyroid condition, it could be an autoimmune nerve condition, it could be an autoimmune muscle condition, or it could be an autoimmune gut condition. So we have diabetes, we have high BP, we have heart problems.
And these are not necessarily 70 plus people.
No.
What is the average age that you're talking about here?
Our average age in all the people we've treated, it's come down. Year on year, the average is coming down, right? So now our demographic that we work with mostly is in the 32 onwards to 50. That's the average demographic. We have outliers on both ends. Like the youngest patient we worked with was a 2-year-old for the autism. That kid was on the spectrum. The oldest is a 75-year-old. He came to us for Alzheimer's, not really reversing Alzheimer's, but some help with kind of mitigating the symptoms and like just energy and all that. And other than autoimmune, now we're seeing a lot of people with gut issues. So post-pandemic, I don't know what happened in the pandemic. Maybe it was the lifestyle or the food choices that people made, the ordering in. But every alternate consult I'm having now is a gut issue.
What is the gut issue?
Acidity, acid reflux, constipation, or IBS diarrhea. Or they're having a lot of gas and bloating, unexplained, right? Like every meal is causing trouble. So could be that there have been changes in the environment, the water itself. We are also trying to analyze what's really going on. Like we tested water from a few places in Pune just to see if the microbiome has changed. So we have an entire research and development wing now, right? Like it's 6 people that just do R&D. They don't work with clients. They don't teach in the academy. They're just doing R&D all the time. It could be water, it could be the environment, it could simply be an outcome of the food they've eaten for a year and a half. But a lot of people are coming to us with gut issues.
So, now then how are you tackling these people with chronic diseases? What's the secret sauce?
Yeah, the secret sauce is not so secret because we teach it in the academy. There's just a price for learning it.
Right.
But see, it starts really with knowing what is the underlying root cause. Typically in diabetes, the root cause for elevated blood sugar. See, diabetes is just a label given to a person when they have blood sugar levels above whatever the doctor fancies, more than 120, 180, 200. Different doctors have different ways of categorizing it. Or your HbA1c might be high. If someone's blood sugar levels are high, it usually indicates that they have something called as insulin resistance going on in the body. So insulin is this hormone that carries glucose into your cells. Glucose, unless you're on a keto diet, glucose is the primary energy molecule that every cell, including your brain cells, use for energy. So insulin is this hormone that carries glucose inside a cell. Like it's literally the Uber driving a passenger to a location. If your cells don't open up to insulin, right? Like there's a barricade saying no Ubers allowed inside, then the passenger can't get into the cell. So most people with diabetes have this thing happening where there's a resistance to insulin entering the cell, like it just can't unlock the cell. And then glucose can't enter, so that extra glucose is floating around in your bloodstream, and that's what's getting measured as diabetes. So we work on reversing this insulin resistance, which we do by eliminating seed oils, for example, right? So all vegetable oils are very high in omega-6 fatty acids. Evolutionarily, if humans have eaten high omega-6 fatty acids, like if our ancestors did not get saturated fat, for example, and they ate a lot of nuts and seeds and that kind of fat came in, the body thinks it's a famine situation and it starts storing that. So it's absolute biochemistry that's happening. Your body is just doing its evolutionary biochemistry, that too many seed oils. So all of us are using sunflower oils and all these vegetable oils for cooking, right? We don't use ghee that much because ghee has been demonized. So we cut down these omega-6s. We bring in things that will improve the insulin sensitivity. So micronutrients like chromium and magnesium and all of that, also a little bit of movement and exercise through the day, and we just cut down on all the refined carbs. Like there's no need for excess refined carbs to go into the bloodstream, and just monitoring and modifying that usually helps a person reverse their insulin resistance.
How much time are we talking about?
3 months is more than enough actually.
Hey, thanks a lot for watching this podcast. If you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe right now. Okay, you'll find a whole lot of videos. Most importantly, if you like this particular video, the whole video, which is a long one, you can grab that too. Check it out now.